We've been held hostage by Aaron Rodgers for quite some time now. Imagine covering the Jets on a daily basis. Rich Cimini has been doing that for a long time. ESPN NFL Nation reporter joins us on the program. How's morale, Rich?
Dan, I have not been out of my house in literally a week, except to go out to get the mail and come back in. That's been it. So, yes, I've been held hostage by this.
What do you expect to happen today?
I don't expect him to go on the air at 1 o'clock Eastern and say, I've been traded to the Jets for this, this, and this. And there's still a lot of work to be done. I think there's a chance he may go out there and say, I'm going to play football this year, which he has not said publicly to this point, and I would like to play for the Jets. I think there's a chance he might say that, but he's not going to announce a final trade.
What do you make of the wish list by Rodgers?
It's a legitimate story. I think it's been overblown a little bit. I don't think he said, here's a list of demands. I have to have these guys to play for the Jets. I think when the Jets were out there in Southern California last week, they had a discussion on some players that he wouldn't mind playing with if he came to the Jets. And I think so. It's more of a collaborative thing. And Alan Lazard, who I believe they're going to sign, he's a legitimate player. I mean, even if they don't get Rodgers, he's a legitimate add to the roster.
But then you throw in Randall Cobb and Mercedes Lewis. I didn't know Mercedes Lewis was still in the league, but do you think that what's the likelihood that they sign those two guys?
That, I think, would be overkill. I mean, Mercedes Lewis is 38 years old. I guess he's a good blocking tight end. Tight end is actually one of the Jets' better positions. I don't think they need a tight end. Randall Cobb, 32. Could he be a backup slot receiver and play 10 snaps a game? Yeah, I guess he could, but that's usually a spot for a younger guy. So I think those might be stretching the limits a little bit. And as for Odell Beckham, I think at this point that would be a luxury for the Jets. I don't think the Jets have the cap room to accommodate him.
$20 million a year? That's the reported per year salary?
I mean, he's not going to get that, but even if he got 15, the Jets, they're pretty much pressed against the salary cap, especially if they get Rodgers. So I do not see that happening.
What's plan B for the Jets?
Plan B is now starting for the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr was their plan B. Yeah, so there went plan B. I know there was a talk about Garoppolo being the plan C. I don't think the Jets were ever seriously considering Garoppolo. I think everyone had him earmarked for the Raiders, which is where he ended up. I think they would be in serious trouble. I think they would probably look into trading for Ryan Tannehill, maybe even signing a Jacoby Brissett. There would be serious trouble and serious backlash from a very angry fan base.
What about Lamar Jackson?
I mean, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I should have mentioned him. I mean, yeah, that's kind of the obvious guy. I just don't know if the Jets are going to pay $200 million guaranteed. I know for a fact when Deshaun Watson was available a couple of years ago, this is before all the off-the-field stuff came to light, the Jets did have some preliminary interest at that point. This is before they drafted Zach Wilson. Once the other stuff came out, they backed off. But I think at that time they were taken aback by the size of the contract he got from Cleveland. So I'd be kind of surprised if they made a run at Lamar Jackson.
I don't know how you felt about this, but I thought Derek Carr made more sense because I could get 4 years out of Derek Carr and no drama. Now, Rodgers, I don't know how long I get. Now, does he give me a higher ceiling? Yes, but I don't want to start over again in a year or two with a team that is going to be a playoff team. What do you make of that?
I'm in the other school, Dan, so I have to disagree a little bit. You know, I see the advantages of Carr. Also, they wouldn't have had to give up any trade compensation for Carr. It would have just been cold, hard cash. So that was the other argument for Carr. And I totally get it. I think he's a mid-level quarterback who could probably get the Jets from 7 wins to 10 wins. But I think I'd rather take my shot with a guy like Rodgers. Yeah, it may only be for a year or two, but I think there's a much higher ceiling with an Aaron Rodgers. Plus, he could attract some players. I think he could galvanize, just because of who he is, a talented young roster. I think he would bring that element to it as well. And, of course, maybe in 2 years, you're staring into the abyss again at quarterback. Like, who's our guy? The Jets still have Zach Wilson under contract for 2 more years. They claim he's still part of their long-term plan. I'm not so sure about that. But you're right. That's the downside. In 2 years, you could be left with nothing.
Would they have let Mike White go if they weren't confident that they were getting Aaron Rodgers?
I think they would have made a stronger attempt to keep Mike White. Coaching staff loves him. Locker room loves him. Mike White, I think, would have come back under different circumstances. But where's the opportunity? I mean, they say that Zach Wilson's going to be the backup. I think Mike White makes a clean break. He gets a much better opportunity in Miami. It's his hometown team. He got a good contract. So I think that worked out really well for him.
Any similarities with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, aside from the obvious ones?
I'm so glad you mentioned that because I've had so many moments of deja vu. I, of course, was covering the Jets during the Favre thing, and the only difference really was the calendar. Back then, it was like late July, early August, but it was a lot of the same stuff. Does he want to play? Does Green Bay want him back? There's the stare down. I remember talking to Mike Tannenbaum, their GM, many times over the years. He said he tried for 3 weeks calling Brett Favre. He got a no for 3 weeks straight and finally got him to say yes. So a lot of similarities, two different personalities, of course, Favre and Rodgers. You couldn't get more different, but a lot of deja vu moments for me over the last couple of weeks.
And this has been brought up. How's Rodgers going to deal with the New York media? And I said, well, Dick Young is not there anymore. Mike Lupick is not there. I mean, I don't know how, he's going to be peppered with questions, but explain the New York media now dealing with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that narrative is a little overblown. Maybe it's just because I'm in the New York media and I'm too close to it, but I don't think we're as bad and vicious as people make us out to be. I mean, we ask hard questions when the guy performs poorly. You get tough questions. I mean, just ask Zach Wilson. He had a rough go last year, but I think it's how you handle it. Ultimately, how you play. If he comes in and throws touchdown passes, it's going to be paradise for him. The fans will embrace him. The media will embrace him. I just think, Dan, that's overblown a little bit. I just don't think it's that way.
Have fun today, and whenever this happens, hopefully you get out of the house and go to dinner or something and celebrate.
I heard we got some snow yesterday. I haven't been able to confirm that yet, though, but I will soon.
Thank you, Rich.
Right. Thanks, Dan.
That's
Take care.
Rich Cimini. Been covering the Jets a long time. ESPN NFL Nation reporter.